but it's building a universe that's like, I'm like, I never really cared about, but if you want me to care about it, I think you gotta try a little harder. So those are my cons. What about you, Jesus?
My cons are you guys right now saying Russell Crowe was terrible in that movie, but
this movie was a con for his career.
Yeah, it was. He should have paid them.
I honestly liked him as Mr. Hyde. I thought it was interesting, this whole transition from Dr. Henry Jekyll to Eddie Hyde. I liked his accent too. So
His English accent?
His little Cockney accent, whatever you call it. But I liked it. I liked that part. That part was like probably the most entertaining scene in the whole movie for me, because the whole movie I was yawning. The movie was predictable. Tom Cruise can't die. You know, it's one of the things that, where's the payoff? You know, there's no consequences to like their decisions. They find the tomb, the sarcophagus, whatever. They release the mummy, Sophia Boutel's character, which is also good in that movie. I agree. But you know, you look at the screenwriters and the story and people who made the story. It's 6 people altogether. So that's how you can tell that there was just no direction. That's why for me the third act also fell flat for me also, because that part was just boring. You know, that the ending was just awful. You know, like you can tell that even beforehand they already said that this is going to be part of a universe, and this movie was just like, I guess, their first stepping stone, like their first, I guess, introducing it. Yeah, but I didn't think they introduced it really well. You know? I think that it was just bad. Another con for me was Jake Johnson. I think he's a good comedic. I feel like he's a good comedic actor. I think he can bring a lot of comedic elements, and that's where the movie fell flat, is because they didn't know what they wanted to be, a suspense action or, you know, comedic suspense, whatever. The reason why I like The Mummy, you know, the Brendan Fraser one, is because, you know, Jonathan Hanna, he's the guy that played the girl's sister. Yeah. He was a good little comedic throwaway to also. He had his good comedic moments. I felt like they tried to do that with Jake Johnson, and that didn't work. I felt like that was just a waste. And
yeah,
then
he
just pops up. Yeah,
he was generic.
Yeah,
man.
He just pops up at, like, throughout the movie and like little scenes and all that stuff, kind of like a pedo, like, hey, come over here, you know. Yeah. And I guess like the stunts I can appreciate because Tom Cruise did all that. He really did a good. I thought he really did good. He does good in all his movies because he gives it his all. You know, he puts in a lot of effort in his movies. But it's just throughout the movie, I was just yawning. I was just like, you know, I was just bored. And then Russell Crowe's part came on, and I was like, all right, sweet. You know, that part I liked. You know, it was good. I don't think he mailed it in. I think he did what he had to do with what he had. Because of this,
in other words, mailing it in.
Yeah,
it was a terrible script.
He got that check.
There you go.
No, give me more lines so I can get that check.
No, I like the scenes. Yeah, I'd definitely watch. It got me interested in that universe, like to see what else they can bring. But it's not like I'm going to be waiting in line, you know, expecting to see greatness. It's not. This movie was completely forgettable for me. But Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, so for me, the bad, again, Jenny or Annabella Wellis, just terrible acting. She took me out of the movie many times. Like her just scenes, her chemistry, everything. She was just bad. So I agree. Her storyline was incomplete. What was she? Was she an archaeologist? What was she? They never actually said anything. And then so you never knew what her motivations were. Like that storyline and that plot was just missing. Like, she was a damsel in distress, but then she wasn't. But what the heck was she? I just never understood what she was.
She was,
and I mean, you know what I mean? Like it just never defined it. So but
they did though. Like when
they said she worked for Russell Crowe, but she wasn't intending to. She was actually an archaeologist who he found, and then she went that way with him because they had common interests, so they aligned at some point.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what I mean. Like, but there's still, she was talking about she worked her whole life for this finding. That was her common interest.
So what was Tom Cruise's character?
Exactly.
Like, was he like a soldier of fortune?
Well, he was a thief. That's his whole goal. He was a thief in the beginning, and being a thief saves his life, right?
So he was part of the army, though, right?
Well, so that gets me to my other one. The plot holes. Yeah. Right? Why was the military in the beginning and that just disappeared at the end? All these people are dying, all this crap's going on. The military is heavily involved in everything all of a sudden, and then all of a sudden they're gone. Like they just disappear when all the actual crap's going down. Like the military's gone.
I mean, a sandstorm hits London, England, and nothing.
Dude, cops are dying in the city, and like everybody's just gone. So
yeah, this movie was. Yeah.
just plot holes. The other one, another big plot hole because I went to the movie with my wife this time. One thing she brought up that I didn't even think about, she's like, why go break the stone when the dagger's right in front of you? Like, do you remember that when they're like, oh, we got to go break the stone so you can't be killed and we can kill the cycle? But the dagger's right in front of them in the same room, and they got to go across town and break the stone so he can't be killed. And she's like, the dagger's right in front of you. Why can't you just break the dagger?
Yeah, that's true.
And I'm like, and how'd they know they can even break the stone then? Like, where is that scene that tells you that you can even break the stone or the dagger? So I thought that was really funny, too. And then if Sophia, her character, like, needed Tom Cruise, he's the chosen one, why would she send everybody to go kill him? Like, all the time he's in trouble by her hands, but she needs him. Like, she can't have him killed because she needs him killed by something else. So there was so much going on. I was like, this doesn't really add up to me.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to Russell Crowe. I don't think Russell Crowe did a bad job acting as much as the character. It wasn't really understood what his motivation was. Was it pure science? Was he good? Was he not? How did he get powerful? Why was he rich? How did he have, he could go into a room and say, no, we own this now, get out, and hand them some documents. Like, it didn't make sense, and I didn't get it. And so at that point, it was like, who are you? What are you doing? And I get the weak tie-ins to the multiverse. They showed the skulls and the vampire and all that, but it just didn't, I didn't buy it. I was like, this took me out of the whole movie with the mummy. Like, it's a subplot I didn't need, didn't want. Why, if you're so strong and you're so powerful, go fight the mummy yourself. Like, and at some point, if you want to study the mummy, go put her in a box with Mercury and get it over with. Like, it's just unneeded, and it took me out of the plot.
Well, he says in the movie, Dr. Jekyll, whatever you call him, he said that he wanted to study her and dissect her and see what they can learn from her so they can stop, I guess, evil and all that stuff. And then Mr. Hyde, he wanted to make a deal with the god of death.
But he wasn't stopping evil. He could have just easily put her in the box with Mercury. That's what he did at the end of the movie.
But he wanted to study her, though.
That's not stopping evil. That's studying her. So what's his motivation?
Yeah, he said that he wanted to study her to see what they can learn.
But what's his motivation then? Like, it's not clear what his motivation is, because he was obviously being cruel to her, too. He could have easily just stopped evil right then and there and saved Tom Cruise's life. It's not like he was a good character. Even as, you know what I mean? So, again, it was something that it confused me more than it made sense for this movie. I did not like it, and I didn't think he was the right person for it. I think they just threw a heavy name at it. And, like, you're like, oh, sweet, Russell Crowe's in this, and then you see it, and you're like, oh, wait, Russell Crowe didn't need to be in that. He's too good of an actor to be in this movie for this role.
He did want to kill Tom Cruise, though. I do remember that.
Yeah, he wanted to kill him for no reason. He just, because, what was it? Was it pure science? Like,
no,
he just wanted to watch it.
He was a chosen, that was why.
Because she would have just picked another chosen one.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Would she?
Yeah, because Tom Cruise was just staring at it.
Right. So what was his and I just didn't like it. I didn't buy it. I did not buy it. I mean, at some point here, it's at some point you just have to accept this as a popcorn movie.
Yeah. It's
a Tom Cruise popcorn movie, and I guess they tagged along the mummy with it. You know what I mean? I don't know. It just fell flat. There was just so many things that just didn't make sense. And it makes sense now when you think about the 6 writers that came on board, but I'm just not a fan.
Yeah, wasn't either. So
I was a fan of being entertained, but
yeah, and which it's hard to do with this movie because you don't know what it wants to be. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I will say. Actually, one last thing. I will say I did like the fact that Tom Cruise died. You didn't know if he was going to die or not when he got stabbed with the dagger. Yeah, I will say I did like that, and I did like the fact that after he stabbed with the dagger, and it was a dark scene when like he woke her up, and he's hiding in the shadows and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I'm glad he died because I didn't know if he was going to die or not. Mm-hmm. And then they cut to like him out in the desert with his buddy, right? And like it's the beginning. And I'm like, wait a minute, are you a dark movie or are you like all of a sudden this happy movie and you began where you ended where you began again?
They want to end on a high note,
and that's where I didn't like that. I was like,
it was anticlimactic.
Yeah, end at the part where it's dark and when him and Annabella are like talking and he's like, don't look at me, I don't know what I'm going to do to you. End at that. Like, that's dark. You know what I mean? Go into the dark universe at that point. End right there. You don't need the happiness. But that's just me.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, there's like no payoff to the end.
There wasn't.
Yeah, it was predictable.
So I guess we can just go into our final scores, and tell you guys if you want to watch it or not. My score, I will say, it is a dumpster fire. I caught myself looking at the time during this movie way too many times, and if that happens, that means I'm not into this movie, and I just wanted to leave. I didn't care about anything that happened on the screen. I didn't care about the actors. I didn't care about none of the characters. Nothing. So, and I think it was a terrible start for the Dark Universe. It was, if you want to look at it, there's going to be people that see it like us, where we just didn't. It fell flat. But there's going to be people that were like, I liked it. It was popcorn. I enjoyed whatever Tom Cruise doing, running and running away from something the entire movie. But it just it didn't do it for me, and it just fell flat for me. That's all I really got to say.
Dumpster fire for Elvis.
Yep, there you go. What about you, Jesus?
This movie for me was overall bad. There were some scenes that I liked, but honestly, I would just give it a Blu-ray, Redbox, rent it. If you can watch it for free somehow, just watch it for free. If your buddy has a movie, just watch it. Don't buy it. But it's plot-wise, it was like Mike said, there was plot holes everywhere. That's just me. Mike, go ahead.
For me, I agree with Jesus on this one. I would say under our category, wait for Blu-ray on the scale. If you can get it on Netflix, wait till it ships to you in the mail on Netflix. It's a fun popcorn movie, but don't have any expectations for it. Don't wait for it to build up for you. Nothing like that. Just go in expecting a popcorn movie that could be entertaining with Tom Cruise, and you will get what you need. So on that note, we're going to end the show. Check us out at jnlshow.com. That's where has links to all of our Instagram, Facebook, all our social media, YouTube, Spreaker, iTunes, everything like that. So check us out on jnlshow.com, and we thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.
See you.